America has three branches of government. It seems like we now have a fourth, which is business. And the idea somehow that CEOs are going to have to lead, they're expected to speak up on systemic racism and job training, and that's fine. But I think it's really risky for business to have to be there on its own, in a sense, as a new branch of government. They're not elected. They have to make these decisions. I would say better not to be in a solo position, better to work in a cooperative way with government, and make sure that people understand, again, why we're doing certain things and how we're going to make sure that their interests are taken into account.
Are there any differences in terms of attitude toward federal government versus more local government? Is there more trust in parts of the government where people are, more community focused, where they're closer to the people?
Trust has moved local, and we see this in three ways. The reality that my employer is the most trusted institution, 15 points ahead of business. Second, that my employer CEO is by far more trusted than normal CEOs. Third, that in fact, employer media, even a company newsletter, is more trusted than mainstream media. So in fact, there's a big responsibility on business to speak to its employees, who then can speak to the community. But local government is 20 points higher in trust than the federal government. I like my congressman or MP. I don't necessarily like Parliament or the Congress.
Really interesting and potentially huge implications politically. One of the big themes we've talked about for the last several years is this move toward populism, and we've seen it manifest itself in many countries around the world. Are there signs, based on how trust is evolving, that we may see a shift away from populism, perhaps more toward expertise once again, and potentially even more toward technocrat-type leaders?
Well, the problem is that the divide in opinion between the elites and the mass is growing. We now find that there's a double-digit difference in most of the countries. In fact, almost 20 points in India. And this is something that spread from the US, UK, and France in, say, 2013, 2014, to be transversal around the world, even in countries like Germany and Canada. So, in fact, there's a big possibility of further populism. People see a 30,000 Dow and yet pretty record numbers of unemployed. So again, their personal experience is making them feel unsettled and uncomfortable. The other problem is that scientists and experts are certainly still the most trusted spokespeople, but they've had a diminution of trust in the last months because they've been associated with politics. The politics has overtaken science, and that's a very unfortunate turn of events. Science has to be the basis on which people get decisions.